There isn't just one race going on at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. As we know, there are multiple. Some of the most prestigious teams and drivers from around the world are competing in this event in 2025, and they are either racing with a prototype, GT, or both. But sometimes the categories that these cars are classified in can be a pretty confusing topic, especially for newer viewers who are getting back into endurance racing or are completely brand new. So with the 93rd edition of this race approaching, this is a video dedicated for you to gain an understanding of the classes that are featured at the 24 Hours of Le Mans this year. I'm gonna try and make this video simple and straightforward for you to get to know the categories regardless if you are a new or experienced viewer of Le Mans. Now, for the 2025 race, the cars competing at Le Mans this year will be split into 3 categories. 2 of the classes are directly from the full season of the World Endurance Championship, while the 3rd class is specific to the 24 Hours of Le Mans compared to the WEC. The first 2 categories are exclusively for prototype cars, while the final category is only for GT cars. First off, let's go into the Hypercar class. The Hypercar category is going to be the main class at the 24 Hours of Le Mans this year, and it is the flagship category of the World Endurance Championship, as it's where cars will be competing for the overall win. This class used to be LMP1, before the new regulations of prototype racing were introduced in 2021. Speaking of the regulations, the cars competing in Hypercar are the fastest and most technologically advanced prototypes in this field of entries, and the drivers that compete in Hypercar at Le Mans must be rated either Platinum, Gold, or Silver. No bronze drivers can race in Hypercar. Now, typically for beginner viewers of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, on the subject of the regulations, this is where things get a little complex regarding this class, but bear with me on that. Unlike the other categories, which I'll mention in just a moment, the Hypercar class features 2 different kinds of regulations, and the cars that will compete at Le Mans this year will be based around one of the 2 rule sets. This includes LMH cars, which stand for Le Mans Hypercar, or LMDH cars, which stand for Le Mans Daytona H. If you want a breakdown of the LMH and LMDH regulations specifically, I highly recommend checking out the video pictured on screen, which I will link at the end of this video and in the description. Now, when the 24 Hours of Le Mans is going on, a way you can know if a car is in the Hypercar class is by recognizing the number panel, which is always red. Plus, these cars are just way faster than all the others. Moving on to the LMP2 class. This is the category I mentioned earlier, which is not a part of the full season of the World Endurance Championship. But just so you're aware, it was previously in the WEC up until 2023. The LMP2 class is more of a spec category compared to Hypercar, as it's classified as the secondary prototype class at Le Mans, and it's been that way for decades. Unlike the other 2 classes, each LMP2 car at Le Mans in 2025 is using the exact same chassis, which is the Oreca 07, and they will all look pretty similar in terms of design, but of course they will have some noticeable differences, like livery for example. And as for the LMP2 class drivers, the ratings for Le Mans are pretty open, but each team's lineup must include either a silver or bronze rated driver. Nowadays, the teams in LMP2 are brought over through ways like invites, where they compete with P2 machinery in other championships. For example, a lot of the cars and teams that are competing in the LMP2 category this year are from the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship or the European Le Mans Series. It's also very important to know that when an LMP2 car is racing at Le Sarthe this year, just like in Hypercar, you'll be able to know if it's a P2 entry because of the number panel, as all LMP2 cars are using blue number plates. Finally, let's move on to the LMGT3 class. While these cars take the longest time to complete a lap around Le Mans, the GT class has always had the largest attendance and provides some of the best action at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. The LMGT3 class has been a fan favorite since it was brought to Le Mans and the WEC in 2024. LMGT3 was the replacement for the GTE Pro and AM categories, And this was a change that was actually made fairly recently, and that was because of the GT regulation switch. In 2024, the WEC moved from GTE regulations to the GT3 rule set, in the hope of providing more competitive and equal action, and being in line with series from around the world like IMSA and the Intercontinental GT Challenge, for example, who also race with GT3 cars at events like, for example, the 24 Hours of Nürburgring. The LMGT3 class stands for Le Mans Grand Touring 3, and features GT3 cars which are derived from production-based road models from car manufacturers around the globe, like for example Aston Martin, Porsche, Ford, and Ferrari. As for the drivers competing in LMGT3, only racers that are under the gold, silver, or bronze rated license can participate, and only bronze rated drivers can compete in qualifying, where the case is the same with the silver rated drivers in Hyperpole. In 2025, the way you'll be able to tell the differences between these cars and the prototypes is because LMGT3 entries are using green number panels. And by the way, this is a change for 2025, as last year the GT3 cars ran orange number panels. So that's a complete beginner's guide breakdown of the three classes present at the 93rd edition of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Between Hypercar, LMP2, and LMGT3, which is your favorite category that is in the 2025 race? Well, be sure to let me know all your thoughts in the comments below.